So this is the process of how a bill becomes a law. So over 10,000 bills are introduced during each term of Congress. And if you remember, a term of Congress is 2 years. So within a 2-year time span, 10,000 bills, roughly 5,000 a year. Okay, only a couple hundred become a law. Bills fall into two categories. The first is private bills. These are for individual people or places like claims against the government. Private bills tend to fall under immigration, patents, copyrights, Food and Drug Administration. We typically say the FDA. So FDA approvals for medicines. Public bills are things that apply to the entire nation and involve general matters. Example, digital analog conversion on televisions. Resolutions, formal statements expressing lawmakers' opinions or decisions. Many do not have the force of law. Joint resolutions, which are passed by both houses of Congress, do become laws if signed by the president. From bill to law. So it starts with an idea from one of these three places, from private citizens, from the White House, or from special interest groups. These are organizations made up of people with common interest. So a member of Congress must introduce the bill. Each bill is given a title and a number. Example, during the first session of Congress, the first bill introduced is called S1 in the Senate and HR1 in the House. After a bill is introduced, it is sent to the standing committee that it's related to. So the committee can pass the bill, mark up a bill, meaning they write on changes and suggest that it be passed, replace the original bill with a new bill, or ignore the bill and let it die, which the term for that is pigeonholing. Or they can just kill the bill outright by a majority vote. Now, the thing that happens a lot of times is that bills get debated. Bills approved in committee are ready for consideration by the full Congress, which is House and Senate. Members argue pros and cons and discuss changes to the bill. House accepts only amendments or changes relevant to the bill. The Senate allows what we call riders, meaning completely unrelated amendments or changes to be tacked onto the bill. So when it's going through the House, if it's a bill on immigration, the only things you can change about it must be immigration related. Once it gets to the Senate, you can tack anything else you want to on there. There could be climate change. There could be gun laws. You could throw whatever else you wanted to onto that immigration bill. Rules of debate in Congress. In the House, rules committees set the terms for the debate. A lot of times they set time limits on discussion to speed up the process. But in the Senate, you can speak as long as you wish. This is known as filibustering, when senators want to prolong the debate and basically stall for time until maybe one side can get enough votes in order to turn it down or vote it in. Okay. So taking advantage of the right to speak as long as they wish on a bill, again, called filibustering. Basically, you talk it to death. The Senate can end a filibuster if 3/5, basically 60% of the members vote for cloture. Cloture, it means no one can speak more than an hour. It's very rare that cloture is ever used. So here's just a funny little political cartoon. Teacher's in front of the class and says, "I'm not filibustering, I'm teaching." In 1964, during the debate on the Civil Rights Act, the Senate waited out a 74-day filibuster by senators who opposed the legislations. 74 straight days of just talking. So, voting on a bill in the House after a bill is debated is brought to a vote. It's done in one of three ways. You do a voice vote, yay or nay. You do a standing vote, where you stand to be counted in favor of a bill, or a recorded vote, which is done electronically from the desk they're sitting at. Now, once you go to the Senate, they also have three methods, but they do it by a voice vote, standing vote, or roll call vote. So they'll call their name and then you either respond yay or nay when they call your name. Simple majority is what's needed to pass the bill, meaning just 51% or more. If a bill is passed in one house, it is sent to the other. So if either the Senate or the House rejects a bill, it dies. Senate and House must pass a bill in identical form before it becomes a law. So if it leaves the House, it goes to the Senate and they make a change, it has to go back to the House and be passed. Or vice versa, if there are any changes, it has to get passed by both in identical form in order for it to go to the president and get signed. So action by the president, after a bill is approved, it goes to the president. One of four things can happen. President can sign the bill, make it into a law. President may veto it, refuse to sign it. If the president vetoes, Congress can override the veto with a 2/3 vote on each house. It's very rare that if it gets vetoed that it gets overturned. Only 106 have been overturned since 1789. Okay, that's like fewer than one a year. So if the president does nothing for 10 days, Congress is in session. So this is also called a pocket veto if he just does nothing for 10 days. And it has a couple different outcomes. If Congress is in session, the bill will become a law without the president's signature. If Congress is not in session, meaning it's adjourned, the bill dies after 10 days. So just depends on if Congress is in session or not as to whether or not a pocket veto works. So again, president signs, bill becomes a law. Here are some recent bills that became laws within the last month. Jimmy Carter National Historic Park Redesignation Act, the Descend Act, the Malala Yousafzai Scholarship Act. If you want to keep up with different bills that show up, go to this website and it'll have it on a month-by-month basis of what gets enacted into a law.